I just played in the Friday night quads at the St. Louis Chess Club, and I have been downgraded from being in the top quad with the GM down to like the NM quad, and now I went down to the third quad where I'm able to actually play people who are actually my strength. I did win my quad today. I got 2.5 out of 3. My goal was to lose 0 games. I think a big problem I've been having is I haven't been having a goal when I'm playing in these tournaments. And I know that losing 0 games is like, well, yeah, that's a goal. But I mean, like, I drew one of my games against, like, a kid who was 1700 because I didn't, like, nonsensically push for a draw just because I'm, like, I can't draw. Like, draws are good. Draws are much better than losses. I have had a migraine for the last 30 hours, at least at the start of this tournament, and I had taken all of the drugs I was allowed to take, and I was like, all right, whatever. At least I'm not depressed anymore. I was so depressed about everything about chess for like a week. I didn't know what was going on with me, but I was like, I physically feel bad, but I mentally feel good, so I'm gonna go play even though I have a migraine and I might throw up. And throughout the course of the tournament, it like faded away. So the chess cured me. Again, for ratings, they just show whatever your highest rating was. So I was the top seed according to like my highest rating, and then the next guy was like 1950, and then the next person was like 1850, and then the last person was a kid who was like probably 12 or 13 and 1700, so we add 200 points. And that's what I played in the first round. It was my only game with white. I played d4, my opponent played knight f6, c4, g6, and I f3, bishop g7, g3, castles, bishop g2, d6, castles, knight e7. Okay, so the last time I remember looking at this sort of thing, I was trying to think back to the game I played against GM Seaman Cannon again. Because I remember he threw some nuance and but I couldn't remember the point, and I was trying to, but I was like, all right, I'm just going to develop my pieces and it's fine. e5, I don't remember what my old move was. I don't know if it was h3, e4, or rook e1. I played e4 here, which is I think the top book move, so it can't be bad. And I was expecting e takes d4, knight takes d4, and knight c5 type stuff, targeting the pawn, or maybe rook e8 first. And I know that there's like reasons why I can't play b4 here, but I didn't remember anything, and I was just gonna figure it out. The time control was game in 15 with a 3-second increment, by the way. But he like surprised me. He played a weird move I had never seen before. He played knight e8, which makes some sense in King's Indian structures, like if you want to play for a really quick f5. And so I thought for a minute about this. Let me get my score sheet. I do a little writing my moves down in a rapid game with a 3-second increment to the end, just as like a power move. So I only thought for like a minute here. I thought I felt longer, but I kind of metagamed. I was like, all right, he's a kid, he wants to play f5. I'm just gonna make this like not that interesting. I'm gonna trade on e5, and after d takes e5, I go for bishop g5, and I'm asking him like a question. I was kind of hoping for some f6 and just making his structure very bad and weakening all of the light squares on this diagonal. No, it was 15 plus 3. Dumb. Sorry for dumb. Or like trading the dark squared bishop would also obviously bad. He can't play knight d to f6 because the queen hangs because of this weird knight e8 move. And if he just puts the knight back on f6, well, I'm kind of happy here because it's just kind of a closed exchange. King's Indian, I already have this pin, and it's my turn. And I'm just gonna play chess from here, clear the d file, put a rook on the d file, etc. So he does play f6 pretty quickly. He's not keeping score. He's a kid. And I go bishop e3. Just tuck him back where he goes, and I'm like, well, your pieces don't really make any sense. Especially because, like, if you wanted to play f5, like, now it's, like, dumb. And f5, I might just go back. Opponent plays c6, very logical move. If he did nothing, like, I can think about just putting my queen here. Maybe not, though. It's just kind of, trying to keep the boys out. But the problem with c6 is that it weakens d6. And I'm already looking for this diagonal, and I'm like, all right, well, there's another way I can get there. I can put my queen on b3, potentially, if f5 happens. Additionally, this is anchored by the bishop on e3, and the knight from f3 can come to d2, to c4, to d6, and cause issues here. The question of like how to get out of the gimp suit is becoming quite a difficult question, because this is also stunting the knight, it's stunting this knight. And the bishop can't move, this knight can't move, and the knight can't move at all, unless it goes back to b8. So pretty nasty stuff. Opponent plays f5, and I thought for kind of a long time here. This game actually, I didn't get to, I had to play because it was such a fast time control, but I was like just like messing around with the engine just now. This is why I'm streaming, because I was messing around with engine lines, and it like blew my mind how many crazy tactics I didn't get to like think about here. So in this position, I like couldn't figure out if it was useful to throw e takes f5 in first, play queen b3, put a bishop or a knight on g5. One line is like queen b3 check. You can't really block because after rook f7, I go knight g5 and I just win material. So after queen b3, king h8 is forced. And I'd love to be able to play knight g5, threatening this fork, and I'm threatening this fork. Queen e7 takes care of all of that. Additionally, this f4 move was scaring me. So I'll show that line real quick. If knight g5 here, f4, like, yes, I can do this, but I'm going to lose my bishop as well. Like, I lose 2 pieces. It didn't look good at all. It was a very confusing position. I can go knight e6, but after queen e7, this was also very confusing to me. Just couldn't figure it out. And, like, throwing this in first and then playing queen b3 and knight g5, it doesn't really change matters all that much, in my opinion. I mean, one thing it does is that there's more diagonals to the king, I guess. But I couldn't, again, this is a fast time control, so I'm making quick decisions. I played queen b3 check, and I put the bishop on g5, because, number one, okay, if the queen goes here, then I already have bishop e7, kind of nearly trapping the rook. Like, rook g8 looks hideous because of knight g5 threatening a smothered mate, along with various ways to possibly even win the queen. I mean, not really, but you get the point. Just looks hideous. And of course, this square's covered. This square's covered. So he has to block. If he blocks with either knight, I think a rook just calmly comes to d1 and harasses all the badly placed pieces. So my opponent went bishop f6 to challenge this piece. And I had kind of a long think here. I do remember. I spent, after queen b3 check, I spent 5 minutes and played bishop g5, so I'm down to 7 minutes, and then on this move I spend 2 minutes and go down to 5. My opponent still has like 12 or 13. Here's what I'm noticing about the position. There's like so many tactics, like vaguely there. One of the things that I noticed about moving the bishop away is that it makes the knight able to take the pawn in some cases. If I just trade here, he plays queen takes f6, I have to defend this somehow. But in the meantime, he like gets out, he breaks out of the suit, which is what I do not want. This is like currently a pin. This knight is the only thing defending e5, because the bishop cannot take, right? So the knight is the only thing defending the pawn, because the bishop cannot take because of the pin. The knight is also the only thing guarding the rook. So I thought, like, in some cases, if knight takes c5, I can either play queen b4 or queen a3, didn't know yet, pinning the knight to the rook. So the knight's only square to go backward would be, like, one of these two squares. And if the knight goes back to d7, e5 is hanging, because after knight takes e5, there's queen f8. And after takes, there's this. So this is what I was seeing. Now, this is all based on the fact that it needs to be his turn here, and he needs to play knight takes c5. So I'm like, all right, what can I do here that will make him think I just forgot about this pawn? So I played h4, because I like my pieces exactly where they are. I don't want to take and improve any of his pieces. I want to put a rook on d1, but he was currently threatening to capture my bishop. Like, if I play rook d1, I just lose a piece. So h4 I really like, because it's kind of like saying, okay, like, what are you going to do? And my opponent immediately falls for my trap. Knight takes c5 is a mistake. And queen a3 is the best and only move that has an advantage. And the point is pretty simple. The knight cannot move away without queen f8 happening. And now the bishop is the only one guarding e5. So knight takes e5 will be nearly lights out. And then all the pieces are on the back rank. And then I bring something to the d file, etc., etc. So yeah, I'll just demonstrate that. Knight d7, I would have played knight e5. So my opponent thinks for a long time here. I assume he sees all these things. And he plays this really annoying move, queen e7, which I actually did not anticipate at all. And I really was not sure what to do here, and kind of was feeling like maybe I hung the pawn. because if I cannot take advantage of the pin, I'm in big duties again. I can't like kick the knight away with b4 because then there's no discovered. The knight still can't move because of queen e7 takes and bishop e7. Knight a4 is one of my ideas to build up on the pin, but knight a4 can kind of always be answered by b6. And it's like, then what? So I had a moment here where like I did a good job playing a good practical move. I don't think it's smart to keep just trying to attack. I think that because attacks come in waves, I noticed that like this is probably a regrouping point. Like I gained some things, but I can't finish the attack without all my pieces. So I just like brought a rook into the center. And it's kind of cool, like rook a d1 or rook a e1 or rook f e1 are like the only good moves. So I was happy that I realized that and didn't play something unnecessarily confrontational at this point. He still has issues, like he still cannot move the knight. So there's that. And these pieces have not moved, so the knight is bad. My opponent shocks me with knight g7. I did not understand the point of this move whatsoever. I just didn't get it, but I also didn't have time to spend to try to get it. I have like 2 minutes, opponent has 7. I just say, all right, I'm gonna use the same philosophy. I'm just gonna put a rook in the center, which is still like a good move, but I had a good way to take advantage of this knight g7 move, having to do with all the pieces on the dark squares, and like the newly opened, or not opened, there's like checks and stuff. If I play bishop f6 now, at this point, now that the knight can't take, the rook is forced to take, because after queen takes, there's queen takes c5. So after rook takes f6, then I go knight a4, and after b6, something like this, I have knight takes b6, first of all, which is kind of crazy. Why doesn't that work in other lines, by the way? I'm actually, like, kind of confused. I'm actually not, I don't think I understand. So takes? He doesn't have as many pieces, I guess, is the big thing. And I think that right now my queen is really offsided, and he might be able to attack me with all of these pieces that will become suddenly active. But that's less true after this trade. There's just not enough pieces to continue an attack. I didn't see any of this. I just put a rook in the center via my logic that I decided to use. Opponent plays bishop takes g5. And I kind of like knew knight takes g5 was the best move here, but I was still trying to set up my traps, which I guess I should not have been doing. But I played h takes g5 because this move made a really subtle threat. If he plays a random move, I was going to play bishop takes f6. He has to take with the rook, followed by knight takes e5. Because after queen takes e5, I now have d takes e with a discovered attack on the queen. And the only square to continue covering the knight is f5. And then, I don't know, I thought something was happening here, but I guess it's not. So maybe this wasn't good, but... Oh, I have knight e4. That's actually really funny. It takes, I'm checkmating. And otherwise it's like a fork. I didn't see that. I just kind of vibed. So I did hope chess, and I was like, alright, I'll take with the pawn, and hopefully he still allows knight takes e5 stuff, or even taking on f5 and then e5. But of course he plays f4, because why wouldn't he? And at this point I am a little scared. Like, he could come to life easily. I developed all my pieces. I go knight a4, which is like the only good move now. I stopped writing time because I was under a lot of time pressure, and I also stopped writing my moves in 2 moves from now, so I had to recreate it. But my opponent goes b6, which is the only move. I missed knight takes b6. Like, this idea never occurred to me somehow. I didn't take yet. I just went rook d2 to double, which was quite a bad move because now bishop g4 and I cannot take on b6, which I didn't see. But I'm having like all sorts of issues now. Like the g-pawn's gonna fall, the f-file's gonna be open, my king is weak, and he got all of his pieces out. So it's looking really, really bad, honestly. I go knight takes c5, b takes c5, and I double the rooks, sort of hoping that I'll get some play, even though it doesn't feel like it'll actually happen. But after, yeah, f takes g3 takes bishop takes, removing the guard, and then takes. My position kind of sucks real bad. I go bishop g2, defending the pawn like this, and tucking everything away. The nice thing is he can't play knight h5, I don't think, because I was just gonna go rook d3, and then what is the knight doing here? It's not exactly clear. Knight e6 is very strong because the knight just comes to d4 and then basically just kills me. And also this actually makes knight d5 even worse because now I have this square and the rook is trapped. Or not trapped, but you know, disconnected. And but then my opponent like offers me a trade of rooks, to which I said yes, please, 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 please. Trade everything. Take on c5, hope he doesn't see the mate. And then he perpetuals me. So like, kind of a crazy game, but oh, I forgot to show you all the cool stuff. Yes, here. Okay, so I should have taken on f5 starting back here and knight g5, and after queen f6 I was really concerned with this move. I didn't see a follow-up, but the computer points out bishop d5 check, which like, it's like, what does that even do? You know, what does that even do? I'll let you think about it for a second. What is bishop d5, you know? It doesn't make much sense. Like, if I take back with the queen, like, I just king h8 and there's nothing. But here, the computer says knight d5, attacking the queen. And where does the queen go? Because, like, okay, this is covered, these are covered. He cannot go here because of fork. He cannot go here because of the fork. If queen h6, then I go queen b3, and I'm setting up a discovered check, and I have a discovered attack against the queen at some point. And it's like, what is he can't do anything here, because I'm basically just gonna, what's the best way to do this? This check, and then queen g8, you know, like he's just getting destroyed. And if he plays queen a6, then there's knight e7. There's also a fork. Well, there's not a fork. Never mind. King h8, and then knight takes c8 followed by queen d7 is one line. There's also knight takes h7 here. King takes h7, queen h5 check, and after bishop h6, see if you can find the knockout blow here, because it looks like you're out of juice. Like, you really shouldn't be able to attack with this few pieces, but it's white to play and win here. Wish I had seen all this in my rapid game. I knew f takes, or e takes f, like, was a good inclusion somehow, but I didn't understand why. Yeah, you just play c6, and he's just done. I thought that was so cool. Sometimes you're done. It's mate. So yeah, there was like a lot of stuff going on behind, like bishop d5 is crazy. That's crazy. You know, how does that work? And then if like, is there anything else? Like if queen e7 instead, bishop d5 still works for the same sort of reasons. Like the queen is getting fucked by the knights. Tough to spot from a distance. Yeah, especially like even if I had considered bishop d5 even for a second, it's not even a move that like I didn't know. Like bishop d5 never popped into my head. Oh yeah, bishop d5, if king h8, there's queen h5. And again, like you can't defend here because of the discovered. It doesn't exist, yeah? So like this is the best way to take advantage of his fucked up pieces that I didn't see at all. This was definitely the loosest, goosiest. Good god, what wizardry is this? Yes, yes. Queen a, finding queen a3, I'm actually really proud of that. The reason queen b4 doesn't work is because, what was it? Like, I was afraid of queen b6, but then I was gonna go queen a3, but then I realized I could go queen a3 right away and just avoid the shenanigans. So this was my only good move in that game. But the next two games are delicious, high accuracy crushes. And they were against men who I could tell, I know that they probably hated losing to me, so it felt so much better. I need my headphones for this shit. these next games, and I had 2 blacks. This was my only game with white, and my openings with black suck, or so I thought. I think it's actually finally starting to click. I'm actually really excited. I'm feeling very motivated chess-wise, even though I wanted to quit like 2 days ago.